how technology impact is coming out on next generation, whether it is in a positive way, which is environment sustainability or blockchain or something, versus the negative way. I think those conversations would be very important. You just gave me an idea to do a new series about it.
Well, I'm glad. Any final thoughts? And since I see I have 1 more minute, anything we didn't get to touch on? Because I know these go fast, and I really appreciate your time.
No, yeah, it's great. I think my final thoughts would be, I think I would say all the marketers out there who are working with amazing products, that your billion citizens whom you want to put next is actually outside US, outside Europe. Look into the international market, look into the technologies of blockchain, which provides you transparency, cryptocurrencies, which are providing you the same day settlements for an amazing business to go in $1 trillion market outside the country, is what I've always worked in and where I feel is the space. And when we are doing all these stuff on fintech.tv, we realize that regulations and everything which we are building up in US are actually much more apt to everything what we are doing in emerging markets who are way ahead of us in what's happening in US. So my last thought would be just go and check out the emerging markets.
Thank you. Thanks for being on. Andrea?
Thanks, Kavita. Next up, we have Raja Manar, the Chief Marketing and Communications Officer and President of Healthcare for MasterCard. Raja is an accomplished global business executive with more than 25 years of experience, including a long list of industry awards, including Global Marketer of the Year and Most Tech-Savvy CMO. And coming soon, you must read his first book, Quantum Marketing. Welcome, Raja.
Thank you very much, Andrea. Really appreciate it.
Raja, very important question right off the bat. First of all, it's great to see you and I hope you're well. Did you actually read all those books behind you?
Yes, I did.
I'm impressed. I had a feeling.
50 books every year, absolutely read.
Good for you. Is that the majority of your consumption? If you're doing 50 books a year, obviously either you're a very prolific reader or have the skill set of reading comprehension, or do books actually take a high percentage of your consumption behavior versus, let's say, the phone or the television or audio and podcast?
It's the last.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
I'm one of those traditional readers who like to read physical books, and that's where I spend a lot of my time on.
Good for you. What's the last, actually just for fun and bring value, what's the last great book that really caught your attention recently?
It was the revision of the book by Sean Eckhart, The Happiness Advantage.
Very cool. And what's the macro thesis there for anybody who's interested?
It's very philosophical in one sense and highly pragmatic at another. The whole premise is normally people will work hard to accomplish success. And once they get success, they buy a whole bunch of things for themselves and then they're all happy. The reality is just the opposite. When you're in a happy state of frame, you work much better and you achieve more success. And it's a beautiful reframing and something which might be blindingly obvious to some, but not to many. So Understood. I think it's a fascinating book from that perspective. I love it.
The theme of the show, where is the consumer attention? Obviously MasterCard clearly sits on enormous amounts of data, which gives it advantages over many other companies in the world. So you may have an interesting perspective on this. Just from your perspective, when you hear that question, how does it filter in your mind and where do you go with that answer?
So 2 things. One is in terms of where their mind is, and second is where their behavior is manifested. So we measure the behavior through something called a spending pulse. We see the transactions of how people are spending on different categories. And we also do tracking more in terms of the psychology of consumers. So I'll ignore the most obvious one, like elections. Everyone is preoccupied with elections, at least in the US right now. But the things which are fascinating to me of what people are really preoccupied with is redefining their entire lives, recrafting and redesigning their lives, because everything has been put topsy-turvy. The kids are staying at home, there is no school, you can't go to office, and you are having social distance, you cannot meet friends, and you're getting obsessed and literally addicted to various digital devices. They are completely re-examining this big time in their own way, consciously, subconsciously, whatever.
That's right.
Second, and heightened focus on well-being. It's not just health as in physical health and mental health, but overall well-being, which includes, it's more a mental state to say, okay, financially, I'm all right, my kids are doing well, my job is secure, or whatever it is. So it's a whole package. We call it well-being in total. The third one I would say is an amazing jump in adoption of pets.
Yes.
It's extraordinary
Enormous.
how much of movement we see in that. Entertainment, very obvious, because you don't have anything else to do. You are looking at entertainment, streaming, and all that good stuff. Fortunately for us, shopping is still continuing very strong, and you'll be surprised to see that the shopping levels, other than travel, have already crossed the pre-COVID levels last year.
Yeah.
So, which is really
there's an enormous amount of money spent on travel and then restaurant and alcohol on premise. And so those dollars, and with stimulus checks and with Wall Street not feeling the effects, outside of pockets of Main Street, people have more money
absolutely
and need to spend it. Now, what I'm worried about is what happens when the other shoe fits, when we get back to real life, because there's some real ramifications.
Absolutely. And in fact, that's where the big thing is. It does look like, even if the recession is going to continue for a while, consumer confidence has not gone down in terms of the ability to spend on things that they think are essential today, whether it is home improvement or food or online. Those things are not going to really drop. And in the mass affluent and in the affluent segments, the luxury spending is actually coming right back up. So the indulgence is all there, depending on the segment that you're talking at, the geography that you're talking about. Like Kavita was mentioning before, there's a heightened awareness and concern for safety and security, which is occupying people. It's not just cybersecurity, but also an anticipation of social unrest.
Naja, I apologize for interrupting, because I want to get this question in as it came across and I'm reading comments. Do credit card companies have a vulnerability with youth behavior around apps and blockchain and things of that nature, or have in the macro, is the industry positioned well? It seems to be a very interesting debate around that. Just curious from your perspective.
Yeah. So in fact, if you look at blockchains and areas like that, they are more a form of a transaction or an enablement of transaction.